Hello everyone, welcome to the Brawlers Guild. We're back after a short hiatus over the holidays, and we've got a brand new video for you today. We're going to be looking at a short, quick and concise guide on the bosses in the Genesis Expedition. These videos will be short and concise and only give you the information you need to know to defeat this expedition. So without any further ado, let's continue. As always, if you like our content, please give us a like and consider subscribing. So the format of these videos will involve a play-by-play set of slides showing you how to position the boss and how best to tackle the strategies. After that, we'll follow it up with some real gameplay where you can see how we tackled the boss along with some commentary as we go. We will have timestamps in the video description if you just want to forward to the section you'd like to see. So up first is the Caretaker in Genesis. When you pull the boss, you want to pull him over to the side so that your DPS are not in the center of the arena. This will come into play in the next phase. Once you've grabbed aggro, kite him to the side. Once the DPS gets the boss low enough, he will run into the middle of the arena and put a thorn circle around him. The tank wants to follow him and make sure that only the tank is inside this arena with him. The DPS will be outside the thorn circle. Once the circle is up, the tank will have a very important job to do here. The boss will get a stamina bar that needs to be depleted as soon as possible. If the stamina bar isn't depleted, the boss will wipe the group. So you want to do 3 to 4 heavy attacks with your sword, or switch to your alternate weapon and use something like Armor Breaker to quickly deplete the boss's stamina. Again, if you can't do this in time, the boss will wipe the group. Once the boss's stamina is broken, he will start chasing you around, trying to attack you as normal. The tank needs to dodge, kite, and block as much as he can. The boss will use a Chaos Bolt style ability that'll do a heavy amount of damage even to the tank. So make sure you run away from the boss, away from this ability, and dodge at the last second. While the tank is in the center, the DPS will be outside of the thorn circle fighting several adds. Their job is to stun the adds, kite the adds, CC the adds, and generally keep them away from the healer. They need to make sure to focus the adds one by one so that they're not spreading out their damage, and generally try to keep your healer as safe as possible. Phase 3 begins when the thorn circle goes away. As a tank, you want to keep the boss in the center, you want to keep him occupied. The boss will drop threat, so make sure you save a taunt to grab him again once the thorns go down. Keep the boss away from the DPS until they can finish up the last bit of the adds. Once the adds are dead, the DPS should come to you into the middle of the arena where they can continue doing damage to the boss. At this point, phase 4 will begin and the fight becomes a DPS race. Your whole group will be inside of the thorn circle. You need to put on any coatings you can, drink any potions you can, put on any honing stones you can to get as much DPS out of your group as possible. As the tank, you should switch over to your secondary weapon, and even as the healer, you should switch over to whichever weapon does more DPS. You will have a few seconds before the boss transitions into a leaping phase where you can do damage to him. Put down any dots you have, any bleeds, any fire, doesn't matter. Get as much damage on this boss as possible. After a while, the boss will start going underground and leaping from person to person. It's best to dodge these so you don't put any more stress on your healer. You can damage the boss during the leaps, but it's best to just stay alive and keep your health up. Once the boss finishes his leaps, you will come back out and you will have a last few seconds to beat the boss and kill him before the thorn arena goes down. If you're not able to kill the boss completely by the time the thorns come down, as the tank, you can do an AoE taunt and hope that your DPS can kill the last sliver of health on the boss. Most likely, if you cannot kill the boss before the thorns come down, you will wipe. Since the boss summons a whole bunch of adds that are just hanging around the outside of the thorn circle, once the thorns go down, you will have a whole bunch of enemies on you all at once. So this is very much a DPS race right here at the end. So now let's hop into the live gameplay, and I'll leave some commentary as needed. You can see this is the point of view of the tank. I'm running in, I'm waiting for the boss to become active, and then I'm going to try to pull as much aggro as I can. So I'm moving the boss over to the side, slowly but surely, making sure I don't drop aggro. He's kind of finicky, but he will eventually follow you to where you need to be. As long as you're away from the center, you should be good to go. Here you can see the boss runs into the middle, only the tank should follow him, the rest of the DPS and the healer should stay outside of the thorn circle. You're about to see the stamina bar that he has, and you can see it takes 1, 2, 3, 4 hits with my sword to deplete the stamina. That was cutting it very tightly. Now I'm just gonna kite the boss around, taking a few hits here or there, trying to stay out of the poison cloud. He isn't very aggressive in this mode. The main thing you need to watch out for is his Chaos Bolt ability. So here you can see he's about to start charging his Chaos Bolt. He kneels down to the ground and there it goes. Gotta dodge out of that. So there the thorn circle goes away. I'm keeping the boss in the middle. I try to grab aggro, but for some reason it just doesn't hold, and you'll see he'll end up running to the DPS here in a second. You want to hold him in the center as much as you can. I think what happened here is that the healer drew a little bit too much aggro, trying to keep everybody up. You can see eventually I get aggro back here. All the ads are dead, and we're just waiting for the next phase. I slowly start kiting the boss into the center, getting ready for the next phase. At this point the DPS should start saving up their cooldowns, making sure they're ready for the big burn phase. Try to move away from these poison clouds as best you can. They follow you, but moving the boss around helps out just a little bit. Here the boss goes into his final phase. This is where you need to start burning. You can see I switch over to my spear to do as much damage as possible. We only have a few seconds here before the boss transitions into his jumping phase. Do as much damage as you possibly can. You'll see that even my spear bleeds stay on the boss, and they keep on doing damage as the boss is doing his leap. Here you need to make sure that you stay alive. So here the boss comes back out. You need to burn the boss down. Switch back to your sword and shield so you can grab aggro. DPS stands behind the boss. You need to get him down as soon as possible. As you can see, there's all the ads coming in late. They should die here after a little while. Up next is the Blighted Greenskeeper. This boss is all about dodging poisons, positioning yourself correctly, and keeping control of the environment. So phase 1, as the tank, you need to only worry about the dodge slam that the boss will do. Usually she'll do 2 soft hits followed by a body slam. You need to dodge out of it. DPS needs to stay behind the boss so you don't get caught in this. The boss will throw out several sets of poison. They're very hard to see. I don't know who designed the shape and color of these things, but it is extremely hard to see, so just try your best to move away from it. The boss will put a vine tether on the healer, usually the person farthest away in the group. The healer needs to make sure that the poison drops somewhere far away from the group, away from the center. In the next phase, the boss will dig underground and summon 2 adds. You need to make sure not to be around the boss whenever they do the spike. Adds need to be focused, need to be CC'd, need to be kept off your healer. Once the boss comes back up, she'll start throwing boulders at you. These are easily seeable. You can see the little circle around you. Move out of those spots, don't get hit by them. The boss will throw down poison areas still, and you need to make sure to dodge out of these areas, keep the boss away. After a little while, the boss will start doing a poison nova. You'll see the entire ground changing into sort of a flowing poison color. The whole group should find a boulder to stand behind. Once the nova happens, the boulders will be destroyed, and the boss will repeat its mechanics. Even if you lose a few people, by the time you hit the 3rd phase, that's okay. As long as you can get past the first set of, or the second set of adds, you should be good to go to solo this boss with just a few people, as you'll see in the live gameplay. So hopping into the live gameplay, the boss takes just a second to become active. Once she does, pull aggro as best you can. You'll see that the boss has a kind of random pattern, but she usually does a weak strike, followed by a heavy smash. You'll see it here in a second. You have to dodge out of it. There's the dodge. DPS need to make sure they do not stand in front of the boss. The slam can one-shot them. There are the poison circles. You can see they lead little poison areas on the ground. It's super hard to see. There's the poison tether going to the healer. After a few seconds, it'll drop a poison cloud on the ground. The healer needs to make sure those clouds are away from the middle. Here the boss digs underground. There are 2 adds. Make sure you stun them, CC them, and stay away from the boss jumping up. Once the adds are dead, the boss will come back up. There's the poison bolt again. Healer needs to make sure to put that away from the group. You can see the boss starts throwing down boulders. Make sure you're sure where those land so that you can run behind them once the nova comes out. More poison balls. There's another boulder. There's another poison vine. The healer needs to make sure the poison does not land behind the boulders. And here's the nova. Ran behind one of the boulders. You can see I ran into one that had poison, so I had to run behind the other boulder. It's very hard to see with all the effects going on. Now the boss is repeating the phase. It's going to come up and have to do its spike phase for a little while. Throw down the poisons, rinse, repeat. There are the 2 adds. Stun them, CC them. Make sure to avoid the boss. The boss is back up. Dodge the poison. DPS finished killing the adds, so now we can focus the boss again. And you can see here we only have 1 DPS, a healer and the tank left, and we're able to finish this by just rinsing, repeating. And there you go, the 2 bosses in Genesis. If you like what you saw, please consider giving us a like and subscribing. Until next time.